In the business world, it's dog eat dog, and you need every bit of competitive edge you can possibly get. Whether you're a salesperson, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, or corporate executive, you've landed on the podcast that gives you that edge and more. This is the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. Exploring the strategies, tactics, and mindset shifts needed to elevate your business and leadership skills to new heights. Your host has walked the walk. He's coached thousands of clients to remarkable results and rubbed shoulders with legends like Tony Robbins, Ken Blanchard, Jack Canfield, and Brian Tracy. It's practical advice, inspiring stories, and the occasional dose of tough love, helping you to overcome challenges and seize opportunities. This is the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. And now your host, owner of Potential in Motion, coaching you to the edge of what's possible, Tom Kelly.
Welcome to the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Kelly. Today I'm going to cover a topic that comes up with every single client that I've worked with over the last 23 years. This topic is an issue for literally everyone. I always say that no matter who you are, where you live, what you do, or what kind of background you come from, there's one resource that is equal for everyone. That resource is time. Even though we all have the same amount of time in the day, in my experience, the majority of people say they don't have enough time. In fact, I think it's safe to say the lack of time is an epidemic. So what can you do about it? If you're one of the many people out there that are frustrated because you never seem to have enough time, then today's episode is for you. I'm going to talk about some key trends that are contributing to the problem of not having enough time, and then I'm going to cover 5 key things you can do to eliminate the problem of not having enough time and actually create a situation where you have an abundance of time. So let's jump in and end this problem with not having enough time once and for all. In addition to my private coaching practice, I've been working as an executive coach for Ken Blanchard since 2007. Ken wrote a book back in the 80s with Spencer Johnson called The 1 Minute Manager. It's a great book that presents a management philosophy focused on 3 key techniques: 1-minute goals, 1-minute praisings, and 1-minute reprimands, which allow managers to be effective leaders all within a short time frame. Today, however, it seems that we've shifted from the 1-minute manager to what I like to call the got-a-minute manager. Statistics show that the average manager gets 1 interruption every 8 minutes, or approximately 7 an hour, or 50 to 60 per day. The average interruption takes 5 minutes, totaling about 4 hours or 50% of the average workday. 80% of those interruptions are typically rated as little to no value, creating approximately 3 hours of wasted time per day. Additionally, when you throw in the fact that 50% of corporate meetings are considered a waste of time, you can see how most people feel they don't have enough time in the day. Even if you're not a manager, I'm sure you can relate to this as well. To exacerbate the problem further, there are some key trends that have been adding to this problem as well. Opportunities and distractions are rising exponentially. In fact, there was a study done by Yankovic Consumer Research that showed that consumers today get bombarded with over 5,000 marketing messages per day. We're constantly attached to our phone, plugged into social media, and always available via text message, which has led to a shortened attention span and what I like to call the snack culture. We're literally getting bombarded from every direction as the speed of technology makes this worse as the day goes by. The bottom line is if you aren't vigilant and have strong boundaries, you're going to be robbed of your time. So what can you do to turn the tables in your favor here and create an abundance of time? The first step is to get clear with where you are today. The way to do that is to track your time. The easiest way to do this is to build a simple time tracking sheet that's broken down into 30-minute increments. Simply carry the sheet around with you and track what you did as you go about your day. The key here is to make sure you track everything you're doing, both personally and professionally, all day long. Yes, you even need to track when you sleep and eat. I recommend that you do this for at least an entire week. Then once you have tracked your time for a week, go back and analyze what you spent your time on. How much time did you spend on high-value things that are in alignment with your goals? How about low-value things that you need to do but don't add much value to your life? How much time did you waste? This will give you a deeper understanding of exactly what you're doing and the percentage of your time that is aligned with what you want to be doing. The next step to creating an abundance of time is to identify exactly what you want and why you want it. If you want to gain control of your time, you must get clear about the outcomes you want to create by creating specific written goals for each area of your life and your business. Then you can use these goals as an effective filter to determine where to spend your time. The best way to do this is sit down and write down the areas of your life and business that are important to you. For example, for me personally, I'm a husband and father. I like to work out and stay in shape. I want to spend time with friends and family, and I also run my own business. So I have specific goals in each of those areas that are important to me. The other thing that is super important here is to get clarity around your purpose for each one of your goals and focus areas. The number one reason that people don't achieve the outcomes they want in life is because they don't know why they're pursuing these things in the first place. If you don't align your goals with a strong purpose, you most likely won't achieve them. This is, by the way, the reason that most people waste their time. When you don't know what you want and why you want it, it's very easy to allow other people and things to waste your time. The key things to think about when it comes to purpose are, why is this a must? How will I benefit from this? And what will it cost me if I don't achieve this? Use those three questions to get clarity around your purpose for each of your goals. That will get you locked in and ready for the next step in the process, which is aligning your actions with your intentions. The reality is that the goals you set for yourself are only intentions until you align your actions with them. An intention without daily action is merely a wish. I'd love to tell you that wishes come true, but the reality is that without massive, consistent action, your wishes will never become a reality. The key step you need to take to align your actions with your intentions is build what I call an ideal schedule that supports your goals. You need to break down your goals into actions and then schedule them ahead of time and follow through. I'll give you a simple example of this. One of the areas that is important to me is staying in shape, my health and fitness. My goal is to work out at least 3 times a week. So I have my assistant book out my workout times on my calendar on January 1st for the entire year. Every Monday, Friday, and Saturday mornings are booked out for 2 hours so that I can get up, get dressed, get to the gym for my workout, and then get back showered and dressed to start my day. Because I plan this ahead of time and block out that time on my schedule, I very rarely miss workouts. Additionally, I have everything else that is important enough to be a goal for me scheduled into my calendar. That way I know exactly what I need to spend my time on to achieve the outcomes that I want. The important thing to note here is that planning is imperative. One of my mentors, Brian Tracy, says that every minute spent in planning saves as many as 10 minutes in execution. So if you want to regain control of your time, then you must build an ideal schedule and spend time each week planning what goes in it and blocking out your time. Additionally, one thing that I find really works for me is that I have a mantra that I follow. My mantra is, if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to get done. If you start leveraging your time by planning your week and adopting that mindset, I can guarantee you'll regain control of your time. The fourth key step in the process to creating abundance of time is to stop using your time as an excuse for not getting things done. The truth is that 80% of your time issues come from your mindset. What do I mean by that? In my experience, most people that have issues with not having enough time play the victim role. They make excuses for not being able to focus on the things they want to, and are usually tolerating people stealing their time from them. They also usually have weak boundaries around their time. As a quick example, when was the last time you said no to someone? My guess is that if you're having issues with not having enough time, you probably don't say no very often. I know it sounds harsh, but if you don't get your mindset right and take control of your time, none of the previous tools that I've discussed so far are going to help. So, how do you break away from your poor mindset when it comes to creating an abundance of time? There are 3 great tools that you can use for this that I call the 3 P's of managing your mindset. The first 2 are pain and pleasure. The fact is that everything we do comes down to avoiding pain or gaining pleasure. The reality is that if you have weak boundaries, it's mainly because you associate more pain to saying no than pleasure to saying no. When you shift your mindset and realize that time is your only limited resource, and that wasting time doing things that don't give you joy and align with your outcomes is massively painful, then you'll have 0 issues with saying no to things that waste your time. Additionally, when you link massive pleasure to doing those things that are important to you, you'll tend to put strong boundaries around your time as well. The last P is purpose. I mentioned this earlier. When you have a strong purpose around your goals and outcomes, then you're going to follow through. So getting clear with the outcomes that are important to you and then linking them to your why will help you focus on creating more time for the things that you really want to focus on. The final step in the process to creating an abundance of time is to figure out what your time is worth, and then automate, delegate, and delete. Let's start with what your time is worth. I suggest that you start by figuring out what your time is worth per hour. If you own a business or have a job or career, simply start by dividing what you made last year by the number of hours you worked. As a simple example, if I made $100,000 last year, I would divide that number by 1,920 hours. I'm assuming here 2 weeks of vacation and 10 holidays while working 40 hours a week. And you'd get $52 an hour. You can also figure out what you want your time to be worth. So let's say that you'd like to make $1 million a year. Then your time would be worth $520 per hour. Personally, I would recommend using a number that you aspire to, as it will help you shift your mindset around your time by using a bigger number. Now that you have determined what your time is worth, take a look at how you are currently spending your time. For each thing you spend time on, ask yourself the question, would I pay someone else that amount per hour to do that task for me? If the answer is no, then you need to figure out how to automate, delegate, or delete that task, as it's not worth your time. For example, if your time is worth $520 per hour, would you pay someone that rate to do your email? Of course not. You can get a great assistant for around $35 per hour. So why are you paying yourself $520 an hour to do a job that can be done for $35 an hour? Looking at everything you are doing on a regular basis through this lens will help you absolutely obliterate those things that aren't adding value in your schedule. You can automate things and leverage your time with technology by using programs like Calendly to schedule your appointments. You can delegate your work tasks to an admin or virtual assistant or hire a housekeeper to clean your house, or you can just delete tasks that add no value with respect to how you want to spend your time. For years, I did everything in my business myself until I finally decided to hire a virtual assistant. Once I did, I wished I had done it sooner. My VA took massive blocks of time off my schedule and completed the tasks much more efficiently than I could for a fraction of what it was costing me to do them myself. So make sure you figure out what your time is worth and then automate, delegate, and delete your way to an abundance of time. Just to recap, there are 5 key steps to take if you want to create an abundance of time. First, you have to track your time to figure out where you're currently at. Then you need to figure out exactly what you want and why you want it. Once you are clear about your goals and outcomes, then you need to align your actions with your intentions by developing and leveraging an ideal schedule. The 4th step is to stop using time as an excuse. Shift your mindset by leveraging the 3 P's for managing your mindset: pain, pleasure, and purpose. And finally, figure out what your time is really worth and then automate, delegate, and delete everything on your schedule that's not worth your time anymore. So that wraps up today's podcast on how to create an abundance of time. By simply taking action on the 5 steps I talked about today, you'll be on your way to creating an abundance of time and taking back your life. If you found today's episode useful, you can also access a number of free resources that will help you improve your business as well as your leadership on my website at www.businesscoachchicago.com. Also, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, as I would love to connect with you. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please click the subscribe button, leave a review, and of course, invite your friends to listen in as well. I'm Tom Kelly, and until next time, enjoy your week.
You've been listening to the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. On this highly useful podcast for people in the business world, you get the absolute top-notch info from an absolute pro on how to elevate your business and your leadership skills. Tom Kelly owns Potential in Motion, coaching you to the edge of what's possible. He's also a professional speaker and leadership trainer. He's worked with some of the biggest names in the coaching business: Tony Robbins, Ken Blanchard, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy. To sign up for a complimentary coaching session and to access some great free resources, hit the website at businesscoachchicago.com. Your success is not just a possibility, it's a certainty. See you next time on the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast.